Hi there, it's Brian Sebastian, Movie Reviews and More, Woman on TV.tv, iTube 247 out of Franklin, Tennessee. And I've been wanting to interview this young lady for the longest time. And the reason I think I wanted to interview her for the longest time, because I found her interesting and intriguing. It's none other than Karen Albert. And Karen, I'd like to have everybody else introduce themselves. Go ahead.
Well, thank you very much, Brian. I'm grateful to be here, and thank you for your persistence.
I am. Anybody will tell you that.
Yes, I would agree with that. Absolutely. But that's a great characteristic, right? Nothing wrong with that.
There's a reason why I have 4.6 million views a day and counting. I know who I want to, and I go after them and I get them. It doesn't matter who they are in the world.
Yes, you do. Absolutely. Well, thank you for the persistence. So I'm Karen Liz Albert, and I am the owner and founder of a company called Behind Your Curtain. So I started that about 10 years ago. I can't believe it. This past April, I just hit my 10-year anniversary, which is like unbelievable. But I am a social media marketing strategist, coach, and trainer. And I live in Denver, Colorado. Another fun thing about me is I'm also lead singer of a local band here. So been doing that for quite a while as well. So I sing a mean Janis Joplin.
Hey, that's always good. Hey, you singers are great. I'm a drummer. We're always behind you.
Yeah, absolutely. Always. I love it. Yeah. It's a great release, you know. I mean, there's so much going on in the world that you got to have something that's kind of the yin to the yang, you know, that kind of like just helps you release. And you know, when you're out there and you're making the music, there's just nothing like it. It's just such a high that, you know, and then when the audience is out there and they're dancing with you, and yeah, it's great.
So were you a singer first? Have you always been a singer?
No.
Wait a minute, don't tell me. You started singing in the shower and then you said, oh, I'm a singer, didn't you?
No. No, believe it or not, I would just go to karaoke every once in a while. And in 2011, I was at karaoke. I'm originally from Los Angeles, so I was at this karaoke place in Marina del Rey. And this lady came up to me and she said, "You should audition to be in my band." And I went, okay. So I was like 47, 46 at that time. Yeah. And so I want to just say that story because it doesn't matter. It's never too late, right? I had never sung professionally. This was a three female singer lead band. And so it gave me a tremendous opportunity to kind of hone my skill. And then I moved to Dallas for a little while. And then I went on Craigslist and found a band and sort of stepped into being like the lead singer role in that. And so that stretched me even more. And then I moved to Colorado and again, found this great local band and been singing with them for about like almost 3 years now. So you never know, right?
That's right. Good for you. So would you consider yourself a late bloomer? Because I'm definitely a late bloomer. And once I was told that, things were better for me because, you know, when we start off in our, you know, teens, early 20s, we want to capture the world, you know, nothing could stop us. And I'm like, so by age 26, I did everything that I wanted to do. And then I went, as you were saying, you started moving around. I moved from Connecticut to California because I was in the number 36 market for radio, but I wanted to be in number 2, not New York number 1. I didn't want to go there because I knew the things that were going to happen. Maybe I have a foreseeing eye. I can see my third eye, which I do. I knew what was going to go on bad. So, but I wanted to go out to sunshine, but I wanted to be where I knew it was challenging, if that made sense.
Yeah, good for you. Absolutely. I was told recently also, Brian, that I'm a late bloomer. And I was like, yeah, I completely agree with that. But the nice thing with that is that we are in bloom, right? Yep. So it may have taken a little bit longer than others, but I mean, I'm thriving in full bloom. So yeah, no regrets. Absolutely.
And you shouldn't have, no matter if things have gone good or gone bad, you shouldn't have. So who said, let me see if I remember this right. Change is not a threat. It's a what?
It's an opportunity.
That's right. And who said that?
I did at one point.
Yes, exactly. Now, talk about that because it is really true and it is an opportunity.
Totally. Absolutely. Yeah. Especially with everything that's going on right now, right? I mean, this is a time where it's really critical for us to really decide how we are going to show up right now in this current time that is so uncertain for people. And I think there's a percentage of people that are just going to go and hibernate and it's kind of like maybe, live in fear. I have always chosen faith over fear because my faith is so incredibly important to me. And I believe that I am totally protected and totally taken care of. And when you can kind of step into that space of knowing like, it's all good. Let me look at this now as to how I can show up for other people. So when you're kind of living in that space of fear, you're kind of making it all about you. When you can step out into that place of faith, you start eliminating yourself as being the primary focal and look at how you can start serving and supporting other people. And so, hope and faith can't coexist, right? You're either going to have the faith, you're going to have the fear. Hope and fear can't coexist is what I meant to say. So you're going to have the fear or you're going to have hope and faith. And it's really quite miraculous what happens when you start to make that shift. And look, when this whole thing came about, I'm not going to lie, I fell into the whole fear space. I was like, oh crap. I had the entire month of April, I was supposed to be doing speaking events and getting on planes and traveling and being on stages for social media expert. And as you know, everything got canceled. So I had my moment of like, oh man, this is not good. But then I just pivoted and started reaching out to everybody that I know caters to my niche market and just said, hey, do you want to have me on as an expert to kind of help your customers understand how they can use social media right now to sort of stay, top of mind and visible. And that was great. And that just kind of, kept the thing moving. Because again, I was sort of like, okay, this isn't all about you, Karen. Let's look at how we can show up and really be of service to other people. So yeah, change is absolutely an opportunity.
Well, sure. and that's the whole thing. You have to now, and I tell everybody this, I started telling them after February 16th, you have to be able to adapt, you have to be able to adjust, and then you have to be flexible. If you can do those three things, you'll be okay. If you it might cost you your life, literally, it'll definitely cost you your business, and you'll be affected, and you might not be able to recover because now we're in the haves and the have-nots. There is no middle. So the earlier you can make those changes, which is now we ran out of time, everybody had their clock set. So everybody was on equal ground. If you took the opportunity and you're able to make that change, you'll be okay.
Yeah, for sure. And to that point, it's not only looking at, okay, how can I show up in a way that I've always shown up in the past? It's also looking at how can I show up in a way that might be completely different from how you were showing up in the past as well. Looking at this as an opportunity to, put some, creative momentum behind it. Maybe you were working in hospitality or in the restaurant industry and you don't have that as a job to go to anymore, but what are you passionate about? What's your specialty? You've got the internet. This Zoom is available to everybody. It's free. Facebook is free. It's unprecedented right now, the amount of eyeballs that are sitting on social media. Like Facebook has never had, they have reported their highest amount of usage ever in the month of March and April. So, the way I look at it is like, well, let's get on there and let's get in front of these people and let's start talking about ways that you can start, adding value. And the minute you start to add value and people recognize that you're passionate about this purpose of adding value, they will actually want to go into their pocketbook to have you because they recognize that it's genuine and it's really something that you want to be doing to serve others. So that's survival, right? 101 right there, right?
It is, but that's a good thing. I mean, like I said, I started telling people about where we are right now, October 3rd of 2018. I'm good at seeing things coming down the pipeline, and because of where we are, that's why I was rushing to do all the stuff that we're doing. It sounded like enough time but you never have enough time.
Right.
Even when depending what state you were in, and when you started, COVID-19, like I said, I started it October 3rd of 2018. What does that tell you? Tell you exactly how many calls I made, how many companies I got on board with us. And I love nothing but sustainability and environmentally, for the art to keep. And that's important for me because we want to be able to save as many people as we can. But at the same time, the only thing that we had to do was to adjust our social distancing. And now we wear a mask, because I keep telling people this virus is not going anywhere for 5 years. So we have to learn to live with it.
Exactly. Absolutely. And I mean, we're not the only ones. This is not the only generation that has had to deal with things that are as impactful as this. And I think it's those that really look at it. I mean, it's fantastic that you've had the foresight that you have, Brian, to be able to see it. But the way that you have adjusted to what you've seen that's the most important thing. Because you could have just gone and curled up in the corner, right? You could have been like, oh,
well,
man.
I could have not told anybody, but I was telling everybody.
Right.
Put it this way, it's like I always tell people, it's like Walt Disney creating Disneyland. Well, he came up with the premise in the 40s, but it didn't materialize until the mid 60s because people can't see what they can't see. And I know you can understand what that means, because it leads to how you are behind your curtain. And what are you going to be doing when it comes to speaking now? What did you do to change with that? Go ahead.
With the speaking, you mean?
Both, and how you started behind your curtain.
Oh, yeah. So I call it my past life, right? So before I started Behind Your Curtain, I was in the corporate world, and I never even knew that I had the desire that I had the entrepreneurial bug at all. And I worked for a software company for 16 years based out of Santa Monica, California. And in the mid 2000s, when Facebook came on the scene, I got really fascinated by it just because of the fact that it was, so opposite of how we used to have to deal with traditional marketing. You would have to hand your copy or your content over to the media source, paper, radio, newspaper, magazines, and you would be dependent upon your message getting out in front of their audience at their schedule, and you had to pay them. So when Facebook came on the scene, and I was like, wait, I can put my message in front of whoever I want, whenever I want, and it's free. That's when I was like, okay, I'm definitely going to invest some time learning more about this. And we are actually one of the known early adopters at the software company is using the private Facebook groups for our clients to be able to communicate with each other. And, it was really successful implementation. We cut the support costs way down. And then that was 2008, 9. And then in 2010, I lost my mom to cancer in 3 months. And that was worst nightmare. So I don't know if you or any of your listeners have ever had a situation that's literally caused you to completely reevaluate everything that you're doing in your life. That was pretty much it for me. And so I just decided to part ways with the software company and do some soul searching and figure out okay, I need to find some purpose in this pain and really figure out what I want to do with my life. Because it's just interesting when perspective changes, priorities change, and I really had no desire to be working with anybody with this software company at all. So in my soul searching time, my neighbor who has a nonprofit organization, she came up to me and she said, I've got a fundraiser and I need your help and you're not doing anything and you know that Facebook thing. And so I said, all right. I mean, she really didn't give me an opportunity to say no. So fast forward 90 days, we had this event. It was a total success. She raised lots of money. And the real estate agents that donated the space for the event came up to me and said, so how much can we pay you to help us with our social media? And that was literally how it all started. I mean, that was opportunity knocking, right? And I just went, I'm going to get right back to you on that. And so that was late 2010. And the Behind Your Curtain sort of birthed because I was also working with a theater company that my daughter was in, musical theater. So I started doing some marketing for them, and she introduced me to someone one day after a production as, this is the woman, she's kind of, she's been behind my curtain. And I went, oh my God, that's such a great name. And so I go onto GoDaddy and I'm like, behindmycurtain.com. not available. Behind the Curtain, not available. But behindyourcurtain.com was available. And now in hindsight, it was so divine because I am behind your curtain. When you hire me, I am not behind the curtain or my curtain. I'm behind your curtain. And that's really how that whole concept sort of came about. And it's been with me for 10 years now. And I absolutely love it because from a branding perspective, it's great. It's very unique, right? So everybody always remembers behind your curtain. And it really does represent what I do. I'm not the face of your brand. I'm not the one that is being seen, but I'm going to make you look really good. Little Wizard of Oz, right? Kind of.
I agree with that because I use that scenario. I have 10 women co-hosts, 6 out of the 10 are in the world of fitness, all winners. 4 out of the 10, actually 5 now. One is Maxim, one's Ms. America, who you might have met maybe. Joanne Harbini, and the other one's Miss Russia, United States. The other one's Miss Brazil. The other one's Miss First African American North Carolina. And I chose them not because of what they were doing. I chose them because they had something that they didn't know that they could do. So I totally understand what you're doing because we're kind of publicists without using the publicist title. We created our own title, if that makes sense, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yep, absolutely.
And that's a lot funner that way.
It's a lot funner, absolutely.
Which is good.
I mean, this time that we live in is amazing because we have so much creative freedom. To be an entrepreneur right now with the internet is, it really is so ideal. We don't have to deal with all of the challenges that even people just 15 years ago were dealing with, 20 years ago were dealing with, it's just, it's very opportunistic for us, for sure, right now.
Absolutely. I think you probably have been the same way. I've always been busy, but I've been even more busy since this hit. But again, like I said, I knew it was coming. So I was like, how much time do I have left? And so when it did hit, you'll get a kick out of this. I was at the Grammy Museum. You ever heard of Sergio Mendes? Well, you're a singer, Brazilian.
Yes.
He brought Brazilian 66 into the United States in 1965. So I was interviewing him for a documentary called In the Key of Joy that John Seinfeld was doing. That night when I came out, that's the night that the NHL season was called, Major League Baseball was canceled, NBA was canceled, the Lakers, were starting to get out, and I had my segue, and I was getting ready to go back to Vegas. I said, that's it. This is what I was telling everybody out. That was February 26th. And it was really interesting because we were supposed to do it like a week later. And I wanted Sergio Mendes because it's a great documentary that a lot of people have not seen. So in the middle of John Seinfeld, we have done, he did a documentary that was on ABC, 2 weeks ago now, called Happy Days of Gary Marshall. So if you know Gary Marshall, he created Laverne and Shirley, Happy Days, Mork and Mindy, and then he did great films as Beaches, Runaway, Pretty Women and stuff like that. So, and Princess Diaries. So to do that, so the look on a lot of their faces were like, what do we do now? And I'm like, well, it's a great opportunity to do things. We got a lot of stuff to do. You guys can write, you can make more songs, In your world, property world, everybody, if you got money, people are buying property. It's perfect time, right?
It is. It really is. And like I said, it's just, it's looking at it from that creative lens as opposed to the scarcity lens.
Yeah.
We all have it. We have it. We have both. So we just, we have to choose what one that, we want to look at. But yeah, I feel it's interesting because I feel as if like I have worked all these years for this particular time. Because I didn't skip a beat. I've been working from home. I have an office now, but I'm like, I've been working from home and I'm kind of in my own quarantine, right? Living for years. And this is not, Zoom has been a part of my daily life for a long time. And all the seeds that I have been planting over the years with my clients, they literally bloomed because everybody was recognizing, oh, this might be a good time for me to actually get my social media going because I have so much downtime. And I had a record month last month. So I'm not saying that to be like, hey, look at me. I'm saying that like it can happen. This is not doomsday here.
No, it's not. Like I said, if you're able to adapt and adjust and be flexible, it gives you a chance to reflect on what you can do, as you were saying, in a different way. And that's what we're supposed to be doing right now, because the world has changed. And I'm telling businesses, hey, I was reaching out to you before. I can go back into my send folder and tell you exactly when I sent you an email, 3 to 5. And when I tell you, I go, who else is reaching out to you and letting you know, when we have 4.6 reviews a day and counting? The answer is nobody, because they don't have it. Because most people in the entertainment industry, they're at a standstill. I'm not. I'm still I'm still watching all the movies that I get, all the links that I said, but I'm still reaching out to those companies that I want to help. Because as you were saying before, our purpose of services to help you, to help those companies, which goes back into, just because we might not have 23,000 up to 1 million followers on Instagram doesn't mean we don't know what we're talking about. Talk about that, because what I tell everybody, it's about the views. You can unfollow someone, you can unlike someone, you can unsubscribe, but you can't unview a view. That's why I always went by views.
Yeah, it's true. And I think a lot of it also, me, and if you've ever heard me speak, which I know that you have, is I'm all about making it about the who, right? And not you, but the who, meaning who is it that you are trying to talk to? Who is it that you're trying to get your message in front of? And so the more focused you can get on that who, and less just trying to be, the expert to everybody, or the subject matter expert to everybody, the more you get clarification on the who, then that's really who you want to be getting the views from, right? And so if you're getting your content in front of the eyeballs that you want to get in front of, and have a demand for what it is that you have to offer, that's really where that's the moneymaker piece of it. Because it's not about, I'm just going to put a message out and speak to everybody and hope everybody hears it. I decided about 4.5 years ago that I was going to shift my focus to become a social media expert for real estate agents and authors. That's my 2 primary niches. Now, did that prevent me from getting my message in front of others? There's my cat. No, it didn't. It actually increased my brand awareness so much in those specific fields that it has spilled over, that 25% of my clients don't fall into either one of those buckets. And that's okay, because I can service them just as equally and effectively as I can real estate agents and authors. But I make sure that my message is catering to a particular demographic, so that I know they're seeing me, they're hearing me, and they're recognizing that I'm a subject matter expert for the solution that they're looking for.
Right. Interesting.
Right? Mm-hmm.
After you were being extremely busy, like was what we were supposed to have been, what were you watching? Since it's movie reviews and more, were you doing what everybody else is doing, going on Netflix or Amazon or Disney Prime or Disney Plus? Were you doing any of that?
I mean, I definitely have my downtime. I like my downtime, and I have to detach from the everyday busyness. And so, yeah, I'm a binge watcher just as much as the next person is, but it's probably not as much as the majority, because I still have my job. I still have my, and sometimes I may work 10, 12 hours, but it's not work to me, it's because I'm doing what I love. But I detach, because I think it's all about balance. I'm a Libra, so I have to have the balance in my life, and my detachment sometimes is just like, I'm going to unplug the phone, and I'm going to unplug the computer, and I'm just going to find some cool thing on Netflix and binge watch something that's going to take my, because, we all want to be entertained, and we want to be taken to some place that is not really our own, reality.
You're a Libra, so we're both Libras. When's your birthday?
October 8th.
Oh yeah, so I'm September 26th, so I'm early.
Oh, you are? You're like right there on that.
I don't identify with Virgo. I identify with more of not the lazy Libra, the determined Libra.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I definitely could agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't see any lazy in you at all.
Now, think about this. Catherine Zeta-Jones, Michael Douglas, Jacqueline Lane, Olivia Newton-John, Will Smith, Barbara Walters, we're all born on the same day. So what does that tell you?
Not lazy.
No. And we've all, except for Jacqueline Lane, we've all gotten the chance to talk about our birthdays and what we want to accomplish. Imagine that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that's very
interesting to
good.
see, what are you going to do now, our fellow Libra? That's what we would joke about. It's funny.
Yeah, for sure. I know. Absolutely. Well, it's just, watch us because something's going to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What do you see happening in your area right now, Denver? How was I know it's number 4 on the state's 2
Mhm.
list of what's going
We
on.
just opened up the restaurants again. So, but I don't know, like, how is that going to work? I mean, do you go in there with a mask on, and how are you going to, like, you have to lift up and eat? I don't know, because you have to wear a mask everywhere here. There's
Yeah.
no, you can't, I mean, outdoors by yourself, obviously, out and about. When I'm walking my dog, I don't have my mask on, but if you're going in any of business, brick and mortar, you have, like, it's required that you have to have it. So I'm not sure how that's going to happen with the masks in the restaurants. So that'll be interesting to see. But I think for the most part, uh, it hasn't it hasn't been it hasn't been bad. I think everybody just adjusted. I think they just kind of figured, okay, well, this is something we have to do, and people have been pretty cool about it.
Are you ready to get back on a plane or not so much yet?
Get on a plane if the opportunity arose. I wouldn't have any issue with that.
And then so for things coming up, talk about the show that you have. What makes your show unique? Because there was things that I liked about you besides your energy and being positive. I just thought it was an interesting show to watch. Talk about that.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's really not a show that speaks so much about, learning social media, which a lot of shows are about that. I kind of look to it as interviewing more people that are entrepreneurs and have had to lean towards social media or internet marketing or digital marketing as a way to kind of communicate to their audience and help increase their message. I'm not about interviewing people that are all about them. It's a very positive message, and helping at the same time. There's kind of an undertone of, yeah, okay, so what are some ideas or what are some tips that you could give to my listeners that are watching today that might want to know, what did you do maybe a little bit differently in terms of using something like Facebook Live, right? Or what are the ways that you did that? But it's very conversational, like this, it's just kind of, it's open, and we just flow and see where it goes. And then every once in a while, I'll put something out where it's just me talking about the latest and greatest of what's going on in the world of social media. But I would say that for the most part right now, what I have been talking about, not necessarily on my show so much, but just as a guest expert on, is looking at all of the tools that we have available to use right now to help us to stay top of mind and visible in front of our customers and consumers. Because it's really right now about nurturing relationships. It's not the time to be asking for people to go into their pocketbook by any means. And so if you show up in a way that is really coming from a place of contribution and wanting to look at what's going on in my neighborhood or my community, whether that's a physical geographical community or your professional community, and really looking at how can I as a business connect with these other businesses and look at what are they posting on social media, and maybe, because the majority of it, a lot of what people are posting is things that they're doing to sort of survive this, or things they may need to survive this. So being kind of an extension of that voice for them, sharing their posts or commenting or supporting them in a way, I think that that's the most powerful thing that we can do right now versus just trying to pitch and sell, because that's just not the time for it. it will be, again, for sure, but, you know, like I said, I think it's going to be really critical how we show up in this time. If it's, I'm going to hibernate and kind of just live in fear, or I'm going to actually, you know, do something that is going to contribute to other people and show up in a way that shows me that I'm not going to curl up in the corner over this.
No, you're not going to. We got a couple minutes left. Talk about how can you get out there and sing. Have you figured out how to sing yet in your band yet? And talk about any books that you have written in the past or what you might be writing in the future.
Okay, so I've been just doing a lot of singing in the shower, but the band actually did get together for band practice again. So that was very exciting. So we're gonna, and we do have a gig that's scheduled for the end of July right now. So fingers crossed that that's actually going to happen. And going to your question about the book, I have one that I've written, right? It's just a digital download that is available on my behindyourcurtain.com. But right now I'm actually in the process of writing a book that is going to cater to realtors and to authors. And it's basically all about how to maximize the use of Facebook to like really see some actual leads and some return on their efforts. So that's going to be something that'll just be kind of what they call the coaster size, the smaller ones that I want to have physically when I'm at events that I can just give out to the realtors. And then there'll probably be one that I'll write that'll be for the entrepreneurs as well.
Of course there will be. Hey, talk about how can people catch up to your show and when will your show be going again?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I've been kind of interviewing and putting it in the queue, but womenontv.tv is where they can get the show. My band is, if they want to check out videos on there, is the Littleton Station Band. So that's on Facebook. And then obviously if there's any other information that they want to have or even chat with me, behindyourcurtain.com is the best way to learn more about me and reach out.
So one more time on your social media links.
It's pretty much Behind Your Curtain everywhere, except on LinkedIn, I'm Karen Liz Albert.
All right, Karen, I want to thank you for your time because like I said, I kind of been chasing you for a while.
I know,
time
thank
to
you
reach
for your
out.
patience. I know.
Well, that's our Libra trait. We are patients.
We are very patient. Yes, absolutely.
So for that, please check out what she's doing. Always think about Behind Your Curtain. And once you figure out what's behind your curtain, then reach out to Karen on that because that's why she created the name. And then for that, for Karen, for myself and Sebastian, I'm Movie Reviews and More, womenontv.tv, iTube 247 out of Franklin, Tennessee. We will see you next week. And if you see someone out with a smile, please give them one of yours because everyone needs a smile these days. I'll see you next week.